a month. Or you also have a job offer from company B where they have offered you $1,200 a month. So the question is, are you in a strong position or a weak position to negotiate with company A? What do you think? Are you in a strong or weak position?
Strong.
Strong, right? Because you have a BATNA. You have an alternative, which is company B, right? Okay. And as you can see, all things being equal, sorry, I got that wrong. Let me, because it should say company A. There we go. Right, so all things being equal, by telling company A about your job offer, it is likely that they will agree to pay you $1,200, okay? Not guaranteed, but you're in a much stronger position. If you did not have the job offer from company B, then probably you have no choice but to take whatever company A is offering you, okay? But you have a BATNA, company B is your alternative to the negotiated agreement. Move out of the company A, join company B, and get $1,200, okay? So because of that alternative, it puts you in a strong position and you are more likely to get the deal that you want, okay? Do you get that, yeah? Here's another example. Again, sorry, let me just make this readable. Okay, so a company plans to launch a marketing campaign on social media, okay? They could hire a marketing agency or they could use in-house expertise and the experience of their own employees, okay? So what that means is if you are the marketing agency and you are making a proposal to provide marketing services, social media marketing services, then you know that the company's BATNA would be what?
They have their own people in the marketing, in their own
Exactly.
internal, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So that would be the BATNA for the company, okay? And of course, there are other this is where competition comes in. Usually in, you know, if a company needs a marketing support, then they're not going to invite proposals from just one marketing company. They'll invite proposals from 2 or 3 different marketing companies as well. And that would give the, you know, the buyer that alternative, okay? So the idea behind the BATNA is your negotiating power depends on whether you have a strong BATNA or a weak BATNA, okay? In our example number 2, the company that wishes to hire marketing services has the strong BATNA because they could use in-house or there are other competitors that they could choose. Whereas the marketing agency that is like making the proposal, their BATNA is weak. The only thing they can do is find another client or create some kind of unique special offer that no one else has, okay? So yes, BATNAs can range in potency, meaning they can be strong and they can be weak. And it really depends on the situation. Ideally, as a negotiator, you need to think about what your alternatives are. Remember, BATNA means best alternative to a negotiated agreement. So you need to think, well, if it is no deal, what can we do? Okay. And if you can give yourself some strong options, then you are in a much stronger position to, get the deal that you want. Okay. Whereas if you cannot create any strong options, then basically if you have no BATNA or a very weak BATNA, you have to kind of take what your opponent gives you. You haven't got much choice, really. So here's a few examples. And to help you understand the BATNA idea, job seeking is quite a good example. So in this one, you are looking for a job. You have one job offer, but the salary is a bit low, okay? Now, if you only have one job offer, then maybe you just have to take the job, right? There's nothing else apart from stay at home and do nothing. What can you do? So really you have no alternative, okay? So one thing you can do is you need to think, well, what can I do to make my position stronger? So it might be take the job and find a part-time job as well. You have an online business, take the job, but see if you can build an online business in your private time. Now, if you do that, then at least it's going to perhaps make the salary situation a little bit easier to handle. And maybe you can come back, you can use your backup as a way of negotiating a higher salary, where you go back and you can say, look, I have an online business, either you give me a salary or I'm going to leave this job and build my online business or something. Okay, or if you have a part-time job, then you have two jobs. Maybe you can look at your part-time job and find out about opportunities there. So you can go to the first job and negotiate, say, well, I'm going to change jobs if you don't give me a better salary. So these are just some examples that I thought of myself, really. So think about how you can strengthen your BATNA. That is the preparation, okay? Obviously, if you are selling something, you need more buyers or a range of different products to sell, because if you rely on just one buyer, then you're always going to be in a weak negotiating position. By the way, the relevant case study here is about supermarkets. For companies that sell to the big supermarket chains, they often get very low prices, and the supermarket says, you want your product on our shelves in the supermarket, then take our price. Like it or leave it, kind of thing, which leaves the suppliers with very, very thin margins. And in that case, there's nothing they can do with the supermarket, because the supermarket is such a big, strong company. You can't really negotiate them into changing their price. So the only thing you can do is get other alternative buyers in addition to the supermarkets or instead of the supermarkets. there. And then if you are buying something, on the other hand, is to make sure that what needs are to be satisfied, and be clear about those. Because again, if you can buy something else and satisfy the needs in the same way, that's how you can sort of brainstorm on the alternatives. Oh, right, I doubled that up, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a video now on this, on explaining the BATNA. So just bear with me while I find the video. Right, what do I want?
Okay, so there are...
Okay, let me just test this for you.
few critical components to a successful negotiation which are often not considered by the bargainer, the BATNA.
Okay, can you hear
Yes, sir.
and see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's just watch this explanation of the BATNA then.
Okay, so there are a few critical components to a successful negotiation which are often not considered by the bargainer, the BATNA, the reservation point, and the bargaining range. Here, we will focus on the BATNA. The best alternative to a negotiated agreement, or BATNA, is the most advantageous course of action a negotiator can take if they're at an impasse with their bargaining partner and cannot reach an agreement. This is an alternative course of action you can take, and it is necessarily outside of the negotiations. It is not a bottom line or the least favorable terms you're willing to agree to. The BATNA is a way out from a bad deal. Think of it as having a side deal. It's something that can act as a leverage point and as an insurance policy. The core utility of a BATNA is it protects you from accepting an unfavorable deal. The rule of thumb is, accept any set of terms that are better than the BATNA and reject any offer that is worse. It is a precious value compass. There are 3 steps to determining what your best alternative is. First, you must make a list of the courses of action you can take if you fail to reach an agreement. Then, you must look through the list and select several of the more promising ideas and make them concrete. Improve them so they become tangible and coherent options, which you can realize if it comes to it. Finally, choose the option which makes most sense, financially, and considering future relationships and business combinations. Awesome. Now, and this is important, you must remember to translate your BATNA into the language of the negotiations you are about to enter. This is necessary if you want to be certain you will not be walking away from a decent deal for a worse BATNA. For example, if you are considering switching insurance companies and say Allstate offer a plan with a 7% and 10% annual rate increase, whereas State Farm have a policy with 30% less than the Allstate rate. You start off leaning towards signing with State Farm, but you decide to be cautious and make some more calculations. You dig deeper and call both companies to discuss their options, and notice there is some fine print to the State Farm terms. You translate both policies into what they mean financially and make the prices comparable by period. You conclude you will be better off with Allstate's renewal rates than with State Farm. Awesome. But if you hadn't spent the extra time, you would have opted out for the worse option. Do you see what we mean by translating a BATNA into the terms of the current negotiation? Excellent. Let's keep going. BATNA must correspond to a real and possible set of events in the world. It should not be a made-up scenario you hold onto as a safety net. That would defeat the purpose of having a BATNA. And, like in a real-life scenario, a BATNA can change due to shifts in the market. It is a dynamic concept that adapts to different circumstances. In fact, A great negotiator would make it their priority to constantly try and improve their own BATNA and spoil that of their opponent. So once you have identified your BATNA, should you reveal it to your opponent or keep it a secret? If it is a strong BATNA and you are certain it is better than the other side thinks it is, you should lay it on the table. It is very likely your bargaining partner will stop negotiating as if you have no viable alternatives, and the conversation will become more beneficial to you. If you think your BATNA is weak, however, it will be best if you do not openly discuss it. And what happens if you do not have a BATNA at all? Very often, the negotiator without a BATNA will find themselves in an insecure position. They will either feel pressured to reach an agreement at all costs because they do not think they have other alternatives, or end up being over-optimistic about the offer on the table because they lack perspective. In any case, saving resources by not exploring your BATNA usually results in much poorer negotiation outcomes in the longer run. We will end this lesson here, and next time we will pick it up with a discussion of reservation points and bargaining ranges. Sweet. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
Find the perfect song for your video in 5 seconds. Go to artlist.io.
Oops. Right. Okay. Now I'll put that in the chat for you. Okay, so that YouTube video is in the chat if you want to copy it and study it. Just hopefully you understand the concept. Now, a few points about that video that's worth reinforcing is, number one, don't lie about the BATNA. There is a temptation to kind of give your counterpart a bullshit BATNA that is not really true. That is a bad tactic because, of course, if they discover that you are lying, then you lose all credibility, and the negotiation will end in mistrust and bad feeling. So resist that temptation to kind of pretend that you have a strong BATNA, and people will try and do that. Okay. The other thing that I thought was good in the video is where she said, if you have a strong BATNA, it's a good idea to lay it out on the table to show your counterpart that you have options, right? Okay, just do it in a polite manner, because the only thing about laying it out is just make sure it's not presented as a threat. You need to present it as what it is, an alternative to a negotiated agreement. Okay, so just do it in a respectful manner if you have a nice strong BATNA, because that's going to help you a lot. And if you have a weak BATNA, the opposite goes. You probably should not let your counterpart know. It's kind of need to keep it as a black swan. Okay, you know about black swans, and quite often a black swan could show itself as a weak BATNA, and that's something you need to kind of keep as secret as possible, really. Also, before the negotiation and perhaps during the negotiation, brainstorming with your team to see how strong you can make your BATNA. All right. Okay, so that's that, and it is an important concept in negotiating. Do you have any questions so far?
Sir, I want to ask, is there a possibility, like, if we lay out the alternatives that we have in terms that we in terms that in this position we didn't have the agreement with the negotiators, like we lay out our strong BATNA, is there might be possibility that the negotiators will just leave us out, like just move forward with other options that they have as well.
Okay, so what you're talking about, Daya, is there's 2 points here. It depends on your counterpart may or may not have a strong BATNA as well. Okay, so you know, in a situation where Team A and Team B both have strong BATNAs, right? Then the only thing you have to do, make sure though, is that the deal that you are negotiating is actually better than the BATNA, okay? Because yes, if your BATNA is actually stronger than the deal you're negotiating, then you're wasting your time. You might as well go directly to your alternative, okay? So although BATNAs can be strong, then they might not be, they shouldn't be as strong as the actual negotiating terms that you are discussing, okay? Now, if we talk about that example I showed you with $1,000 and $1,200, so you're working at company A, they're going to give you $1,000, but you also have a job offer from company B where they will pay you $1,200. Now, although the numbers, it seems obvious, go to the higher paying job, right? But there might be more. Number one is you're already in the company, so maybe you have contacts, you have friends, you have maybe a career path and a reputation. So there are probably benefits of you staying with your company rather than jumping to a different company just for the extra money, right? Okay. So there's those factors to consider in the situation, but certainly the deal should offer better, better terms and conditions than the BATNA itself. Otherwise, yes, the deal will break off and people will just go for the alternative. Does that make sense to you?
So if like both parts, they have strong BATNA and they couldn't really make the decision, so they just break it up.
Maybe, but then everyone's happy because both sides have strong alternatives, don't they? So the result is okay. Yeah.
So sir, is it okay for us to guess the counterpart's BATNA by using the tricks that we studied last time?
Yeah, so
discovering things.
Basically, yes. I mean, a BATNA could be a black swan. So this is where you need to use the labeling and the mirroring to find out and discover as much information as you can. So yes, I mean, it's a good idea to try and discover what your counterpart's BATNA actually is. Now, remember here, you might be able to make your own guess, right? Just, using your own knowledge and experience. But you need to treat that as a hypothesis because you've got to find out exactly what that is from the counterpart and not just kind of jump on any assumptions you might make.
Okay, sir, thank you.
All right, now we're going to, that's the concept of BATNA. I'm going to we're going to play kind of like a little game now. Let me explain what this is to you. Wait a minute, it's I need to just go back to the slide. Right, so I'll explain the rules to this. Just give me a second to make sure I get this right. Right, okay, so I'll put this in the text on the screen so it's clear. Oh, go away. Right. So we're going to have two types, okay? One of you will be an acceptor and one of you will be the receiver, okay? Sorry, let's proposer. So we have a proposer and a receiver. So the proposer has $10. You'll have to imagine this, all right? Usually when I do this in the classroom, we can use real money, but unfortunately on the internet, you'll have to imagine that proposers, then you have $10, okay? Now, the idea is the proposer must offer money to the receiver, okay? Now, remember, how much money does the receiver have? $10, right? Okay, so the offers are by $1 units, okay? So that means that the proposer can offer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or $10 to the receiver, okay? Now, the receiver can accept or reject the proposer's offer. Okay, it's completely up to the receiver to say, no, I don't want it, this is not fair, or yes, okay, I'll take the money. All right, like that. But there is only one thing. If you do not reach an agreement, I get the money back. Okay? So if the proposer and the receiver agree, then you get to keep the money. But if the proposer cannot agree, the proposer and receiver cannot agree on how much money they each keep, then the $10 comes back to me. All right? Is that clear? So I'll put this in the chat, and I'm going to, I'll put you into groups. One of you will be the proposer and one of you will be the receiver, okay? So let me just copy this, the rules here. Right then, now I'll put you into breakout rooms and I want you to have your little mini negotiation, okay? And then at the end, you can tell me, did you agree or not agree? And if you did agree, how did you share the money, okay? Does anyone have any questions? No questions, yeah? All right, so let me work out how to do this.
Sir, is the negotiation only be in the range of this money, or we can
Sorry, please repeat.
for the negotiation process? Is it supposed to be just within the money range, or we can improvise something else?
Within the range. So your range is up to $10.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, because that's all you've got, right? You've only got $10 to negotiate. Okay. Right. So let me just work out. It's a bit. Who's going to be the proposers? Okay. Let me. Okay, I'll go through like that. Oh no, that's not working. So when I'll put you into the breakout groups, okay, and you'll have to decide who is. You'll have to choose. One of you will be the proposer, and one of you will be the receiver. You'll have to agree on that in your groups, okay? Is that clear? Does everyone know what they need to do?
Sir, I want to ask, sir.
Yes.
It says that the proposer must offer money to the receiver, but what does it mean? Like, as a proposer, do we just like offer money, or we offer something else alongside the money?
No. Well, essentially, just the money, Kevin. Okay. All right. So just
If that's the case, isn't like every receiver going to accept because it's like free money for them?
try it, see what happens, right? Okay. So, try it and see what happens. Your questions are valid, but probably in the feedback just try it naturally, right? With this, one of you is the proposer, one of you is the receiver. See if you can get an agreement on how much money to give the proposer gives and how much money the receiver takes. All right. See how you do, and then maybe we can discuss after a little practice. Okay. Let's try it anyway.
Halo, Kak. Apakah Gaby lagi sibuk? Gaby, kamu masih sibuk? Hai, kirain. Can I be a receiver? Bentrok banget ya. Hmm, tadi kita disuruh negosiasi. eh tadi ada foto deh kayaknya. Jadi ada yang jadi proposer sama ada yang jadi receiver. Nah, yang the proposer itu dia punya eh $10. Nah, si the proposer must offer money to the receiver. The offers are by $1 units. The receiver cannot accept can accept or reject the proposer's offer. If you do not reach an agreement, I get the money back gitu. Gitu. Gaby mau jadi proposer atau receiver? Tapi Ara pengen jadi receiver boleh gak? Gak apa-apa, gak apa-apa. Intinya sih kayak aku nawarin ke kamu nih. Soalnya nih, aku jadi proposer. Kan aku punya uang tuh $10. Nah, uh, the offers are by $1 units. Nah, kamu ini kayak misalnya nerima, bilang kamu bisa apa ya? Milih mau nerima atau enggak gitu. Aku juga bingung. Mas, ya, iya. Tadi kata Sir David juga kan, Sir David juga bilang apa sih? Ya udah kamu over money aja. Ma- over money aja, over yang $10-nya itu. Tapi kayak bingung dari money itu maksudnya gimana? Mungkin kayak misalnya ini kali ya, kamu punya bisnis gitu kan. Terus kayak aku yang ibarat ya yang jadi yang invest gimana sih? Ya nggak sih yang ngasih modal gitu ya nggak sih? Bingung sendiri. Maybe. Hmm. I don't know. Please don't. Hmm. Oke, oke. Hmm. Aku jadi reserver. Kamu kan proposer. Aku yang nerima. Kamu nanya, aku mau. Iya, kamu kayak nanya ke aku, kamu mau nggak? Kamu, kamu, kamu mau berapa dolar? Nanya gimana ya? Range-nya itu mungkin iya. Iya, tapi ini reservernya aku bingung dia kan cuma bisa nerima atau enggak. Iya. Tadi sih kan bisa dari yang $10 itu bisa up to more than that, I guess. Uh, Gaby, maaf. Iya, pada ini lagi baca chat juga pada gimana sih gimana? Oke, okay. Oke. Okay. Bayang. I think it seems not fair because this candy it's from Italy and the ingredient is really worth more than gold. So it's really, it's not fair. It's kinda it's kinda awkward, agak aneh. Tapi nggak apa-apa kan? Okay, it sounds good to hear. I'll give it to you. Okay, deal. Yeah. Wow. Kok ini agak gini ya? Udah gini doang ya, Gap. Ya, betul. Lucu banget sih. Gaby ikut yang Business Expo nggak? Enggak. Pengen ikut tapi kayak bentrok jadi males, takutnya malah percuma gitu nggak dengerin dua-duanya, malah jadi kayak gitu takutnya. Hmm. Yang besok ikutan juga? Iya, adanya content writer doang yang di internship juga. Saya pengen yang lain. Wow. Kelas ini apa jam berapa? Oh, udah live. Bye bye, Gaby. Thank you. Udah bisa live.
Okay, everybody. I think most of you, had a little go at that. Now, the groups that I talked to agreed on $5 and $5. What I want to ask is, did anyone else agree on something that was not just $5 each? Okay, no one is answering me. So the next question then is, did everyone agree on $5 each?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is that actually the best agreement? Are you a good negotiator if you gave away 50% of your money?
I think no, sir, because if you give more, you will get more benefit.
Right, obviously that would be, but why not give just $2? That would be, you'd be a better negotiator if you only gave away $2 and not $5. What's wrong with that?
Because the receiver would ask for more.
And then you can just say no. Is it unfair? What this exercise does is kind of raises the concept of what is a fair deal or not, okay? Now, obviously, I understand the thinking behind 50-50, but is that actually fair? Is it fair if the proposer says, I will give you $2, right? It's quite fair if you think about it. $2 is better than $0. Why wouldn't the receiver agree to getting an extra $2?
Maybe because in the situation, we have stated that the proposer has $10. So maybe they expect that they can get maybe the whole of it, or maybe at least more than $2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's difficult to do this on the internet, but you know, it's not face to face. But probably in real life, you see, you'd be actually, the number one is the concept of fairness is relative, because it is actually fair to offer just $1 or $2 to the receiver, because they've got nothing, they've done nothing, and they've gained that a little bit of extra money. So you can define it as win-win as well. The other thing is, in real life, of course, you're not going to, I mean, really, maybe the numbers are sort of a bit too low. Maybe I should have changed it to $100, where there's a bit more leeway for you to negotiate. But in real life, you're not going to give away, 50% automatically in a negotiation just to kind of make things nice and happy, right? You're going to be negotiations are going to be kind of a bit more there will be a stronger self-interest involved in the negotiation than just saying, well, if we split it 50-50, then at least I'm doing something that makes you happy. So anyway, that was just an example of a little negotiating tactic. When I have done this in the past in classrooms, and what we found out is, I mean, face to face, it's a bit easier. People are more interested in actually, increasing their own side, and it's not so much about just getting the 50-50 split, but it's actually trying to maximize their own interests there. Because as the proposer, you'd probably want to give as little as you can so that you can maximize your own interests there. So when we do this in class, it usually results in quite a different range of agreements there. Okay, anyway, let's carry on now. So we're going to move on. Sorry, I want to just go back to the slides now. Okay, so we're going to carry on with something that is called, well, let's go to the idea of yes, because this relates to the negotiation you've slightly experienced here. And what we talked, I think it was last week, didn't we? We talked about no-oriented questions. Can you remember what no-oriented questions were about? Were they good or bad to ask no-oriented questions?
It's bad.
Well, no-oriented questions were quite good. Shall I just remind you of the slide there? Let me just refresh your memory on what I was talking about. Okay, a stop share here. So this is a document from the previous lesson, yeah? Okay, so you remember we talked about this, where it is better to ask a no-oriented question because that will give you more information, and it will get you more of an honest answer. And we have the examples there. Is now a bad time? Would it be out of the question if? Is it ridiculous if? Am I out of line if? Have you given up on? Are you against? Okay. And remember, we had the practice using to be and would it be if. All right. I think, have you got this document, by the way? Did I upload it to the chat? Let's upload it to the chat then for you once again, in case you haven't got that. I think you did have it, but anyway, here it is again. So that's just, we talked about this importance of using no-oriented questions to get more information and to get an honest answer. Now, I just want to talk about when someone says yes. Okay, so let's just go back to the slides here. And there are three, can you see my slide? No?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet, okay, don't worry. Let's get back. Right, here we go. Okay, so we have three different types of yes. Okay, what this means when I say three types of yes, obviously in a negotiation, someone might say yes to you, but when someone says yes, it can mean three different things. Okay, we have the counterfeit yes. And this is the fake yes, okay? It's when someone says yes, but actually they might mean no, or they don't want to talk about it. They're just saying yes in order to delay and avoid something, okay? So the counterfeit yes is a fake yes. The confirmation yes is where they're just saying something like, yes, that is true, but, okay, it's a confirmation is kind of a yes, but there's no commitment, all right? Okay, it's a sort of yes when I say something like, do you like pizza, right? Then you say, yes, I do. You're confirming that you like pizza, all right? But you're not making a commitment to go out and buy pizza or even to go and eat pizza with me, right? You're just saying, yes, it's true that I like pizza. So you're saying yes just to confirm information. And then the third yes is the actual real yes when you have a commitment, okay? So if you think about the question, do you agree? Do you agree to the terms and conditions? The yes could mean three things, okay? It could be a counterfeit yes, where actually the person is saying, yes, I agree, but I'm not going, but actually I don't agree, okay? Where they're just saying yes to be polite. Or they might say, yes, I agree, but I'm not going to sign, I'm not interested in the deal. Or it could be, yes, I do agree, and I'm going to sign. So when someone says yes, we need to be very careful because it could mean those different things. So when you get a yes, you have to remember that you've got to find out what kind of yes it is. So you're back to the good old strategies of mirroring and labeling, and also changing your questions to no-oriented questions. Okay, when someone says yes, you need to kind of get confirmation about it, which means that you have to change the questions and find out if they really do give a commitment there. Now, these are, in this slide, we've got a few points. This is some of the reasons why people will give you the fake yes or just the confirmation yes. There's the need to feel safe and secure, and the need to feel in control. So they're saying yes, just because they're trying to satisfy their needs and try and avoid fear. And then in terms of getting more information, sometimes being nice doesn't always work, and giving logic doesn't always work. So the solution is to go back to no-oriented questions there. Instead of getting a yes, the alternative is to try and get this answer that it says here, which is that's right. Okay, so this is your alternative for achieving agreement, is when they say that's right. Now you can do this with using a summary. Okay, a summary means that you paraphrase what the other person says, and you also use labels as a way of discovering the information. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to watch a quick video on how to get your counterpart to say that's right. So just give me a minute to find this for you. Okay, so we'll watch this. This is a very short one, and then we'll watch. Okay, we'll watch a couple ones here. Let me get this thing.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up a camera or you.
My first question for you, Chris, is what are some warning signs of bad communication in the boardroom?
All right, they're subtle and it's insidious, and the worst warning sign is you're right. I mean, that just kills so much. You're right is what we say to people to get them to stop talking and leave us alone. And it's probably the worst form of fake agreement, and people love to be told you're right. I mean, they love it. And I had an executive one time I sat at dinner with a couple of years ago. He sat down next to me, he says, "You saved me so much money." He said, "I had my senior team together, and I'd already read your book. So as I was trying to outline the strategy, and I didn't think they were getting it, one of my guys said, 'Tim, you're right.' And I went, oh my God, because that's what people say to you when they want you to stop talking. They're trying to preserve the relationship, but they just don't want to hear anymore." He said, "Thank God, because otherwise I'd have thought I was on the right track. I'd have thought I got my message across. I would have stopped talking." But if somebody's asking me to stop talking because they're tired of hearing me, I realize I need to back up. I need to stop the meeting. I need to get back together with each person individually and get everybody back on track. And that's probably the worst form of fake agreement and the biggest consumer of time and implementation processes across the board is people saying you're right.
You know, it's weird that you say that because I know I say that and I was never aware of it until you just mentioned it.
And yeah, you say it to somebody, you're trying to preserve the relationship. You're trying to figure out how to get another answer, but you just want them to stop.
Sorry, yeah, let's just go to one more.
When somebody says that's right, they're telling you they felt completely understood. which means now you have the go signal because now their brain is willing to listen. When somebody says you're right, what they're really saying to you is, please shut up. Stop talking. I can't take it anymore. Go away. Your right is designed to get you to shut up and preserve the relationship. That's right, on the other hand, that tiny little change is what we say when we feel completely heard. And there's a chemical change that takes place in the brain. It's a subtle epiphany. And when you feel an epiphany, you feel better. You just don't know where it came from. Well, it came from me because I got you to say that's right. And without knowing it, now you're willing to listen to me, and you don't know that I did that to you.
Okay, so let's just go. I'll just explain this in a bit more detail.
And one thing I'm telling other managers right now is to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform to run every.
Okay, sorry. Right. So just to add to this slide, if you have a yes, then what I'm saying is, because yes is unreliable, it can mean it can mean different things. Then you need confirmation about what kind of yes you have, and your confirmation is done by summarizing your counterpart's opinion and saying things from the counterpart's perspective, and then using the mirrors and labels to get that confirmation. So after that yes, you need to check. Now the idea is, if you do it right, then your counterpart is going to say that's right. And when they say that's right, you know that you have got, if you like, a real yes. You have got a positive sign that your counterpart is completely feeling understood and you have got the situation correct. Okay? However, one of the danger signs is if your counterpart says you're right, then that is a dangerous thing to say, because with you're right, it means actually that the person is just, I'll put this in red, shall I? If you get you're right, then the person you're talking to, it just wants to stop the conversation and kind of get away. So you're right is a danger sign, and that's right is the key to a positive response. Okay, and it shows that you have understood. Remember, once you've understood your counterpart, then you're in a strong position because you've established a good relationship. Okay. Now let's go back to these parts, which is an accusation audit. Okay. So this is about, again, this is about identifying all the negative parts, complaints and problems in a negotiation. Okay, so if you find yourself in negative situation, it's a good idea to label the fears first. And again, this is something that will hopefully lead to a more positive understanding. So in case you're worried about volunteering to role play with me in front of the class, should be in front of the class, I will tell you in advance that it's going to be horrible. And those of you who do volunteer will probably get more out of this than anything else. So this is an example that he used in order to get to agreement, taking away the negative feelings before it happens, can be a good strategy towards getting this situation of you're right. So part of this is making sure that you can imagine yourself in your counterpart's shoes. Think about what are the fears of your counterpart. Usually people will think about their fears first. The will nots are often stronger than the wills. So what this means is that in a negotiation, the negatives are often the stronger reasons, meaning that the reasons not to agree to something are often stronger than the reasons that they will agree. So recognizing this kind of reluctance or obstacles at the beginning can be important here. And again, we have labels. Remember, it seems like, it looks like, it sounds like, and labeling the negative or the objections can be an important thing towards getting agreement there. So in preparation, prepare the worst things that the other party could say about you, and then say them first. Often this is a good way of getting past the obstacles in an agreement. And yeah, I mean, like if you can get to that point where someone says that's right, then that's the signal where they feel appreciated and understood, and you've got to that sudden point where you can actually start making progress on an agreement. Usually that comes after you've handled all of the negative and reluctance in a negotiation. So here's a bit more about the no, okay? So one of the things is when someone says no, it could mean a number of different things. For example, it could mean, I'm not yet ready to agree. You are making me uncomfortable. I do not understand. I don't think I can afford it. I want something else. I need more information. I want to talk it over with someone else. Now, remember, these might not be open. These are, again, perhaps black swans that you need to find out through, more discussion. Okay. And here are some of the questions that you can ask. So you've got these questions. What doesn't work for you? What would you need to make it work? It seems like there's something here that bothers you. So that's a label here, okay? And you can use these questions to try and uncover some of the negative issues, okay? Certainly in the preliminary rounds of negotiation, it's about discovering the negative feelings behind and the objections behind when people say no there. All right, anyway, we covered a few things. We're basically out of time. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Sir, I want to ask about the that's right situation.
Yeah.
Won't it be a possibility that we can manipulate the counterparts to say that's right?
I think if you, well, the idea behind getting that right is that you're not, so you summarize the counterpart's position, right? And you use labels, so you're doing it doing it in an honest way. You mean, will they, if they lie to you, the idea is that they might, I mean, why would, if again, are they lying to, if they lie to you, then you've missed something, really. Well, if someone, you've got to, you don't know, that's what you're asking, Dea, isn't it? What if they say that's right, but they're actually lying? I mean, why? I think it depends on the situation. If you sense that they're lying, then you have to go back, you know, to, this goes back to labeling the negative. You'd label it and you'd identify the negative. So you'd have to, let's say they say that's right, but you are suspicious, then you'd have to say something like, it seems that there's something missing. It seems that you haven't, that I haven't understood all of your position. Okay, something like that. And or even say, look, I know I've tried to understand you, but I'm not sure that you're that you completely agree with my summary. And actually being open and identifying the fact that they are lying. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. And that's, so yeah, you know, it will depend on the situation, but ideally what you've done is, because you've shown a lot of empathy and understanding, you've put your counterpart in a more trusting position where they are much less likely to lie to you. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for your questions and your participation. So we've covered a fair amount of ideas. We've looked at the BATNAs. We've looked at different types of yes and how to deal with sort of some labeling and getting the negative side of ideas out in the open. And we've also looked at a few ideas of the from the little game to make you perhaps think about what is fair and what is not fair in a negotiation. So let's stop there. Now, once again, we've got a long break, so I've covered the mid-semester test with you, and you know, hopefully that will go fine. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, sir.